being here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Josie, you have been a trailblazer over at Hispanic Unity. You've tackled one of the toughest populations, middle school, one of those critical years, and you've been with us from the beginning. Tell us why middle school and what that's done for your organization.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the trust and the partnership that we've had for the last 10 years. And both staffs of both organizations work really well together, and thank you for making that happen. Middle school is the toughest age by far. This is when we really lose the youth. And we thought, let's tackle where the greatest need exists. And there's a lot of wonderful providers doing programs at elementary school. We really wanted to tackle those where there were few people really providing services. So for youth, we have a wraparound service thanks to Children's Services Council. And we really take a holistic approach to youth programs and youth development. And again, you've really led the way in terms of really moving that from just an after-school program to a really robust program that does a lot of things. In addition to academics, it reduces risk factors, that helps youth keep out of trouble. We have arts as part of that, physical education, community service, and it's just a wonderful thing to see coming all together.
You've been such a terrific partner. I'm sure that most people watching have no idea the breadth of the work that Hispanic Unity does. And you've really been there in so many aspects of CSC programming, from youth force to the earned income tax credit. The leadership that you've provided there has been truly amazing. $153 million additional money going into the pockets of Broward County residents. Talk about Hispanic Unity's role in that.
Again, our role has really been part of a very large group of organizations, and Children's Services Council and Sandra Bastian, who is one of my favorite people, has really been the trailblazer. We've just followed her lead. And what we've done working together is create a very robust volunteers and tax assistance program. The IRS has been a major partner, and now we're up to 15 different sites for this coming year. And what we do is free tax preparation, which is very significant because what this is doing is putting money back into the pockets of working families. And the wonderful thing about this is that we do this program with a number of programs, a number of partners, and we provide the services in multiple languages. And there's even a mobile unit, again, the Children's Services Council and Sandra and her team came up with. It's a mobile unit. It's now being designed. It was now designed and funded by United Way as well, who is another great partner in this endeavor. And we drive to places. We drive to between 20 and 30 different locations to help people do their taxes. And it is an amazing program. Just our agency alone, working through the partners, will generate almost $6 million worth of tax refunds in the coming year.
That's fabulous.
It is.
On about a $200,000 investment. So that's quite a nice return.
It is an amazing return. As I share with folks, our agency is about $4 million to run a year, and we bring back to the community a profit just from one program. That's
awesome. And, you know, partnership, I think, is one of those hallmarks of the CSC and the Broward community in general. EITC is a great example of the way you've worked together with so many other agencies and creating that partnership and a quest for quality. Can you talk a little bit about how the work with the Children's Services Council has improved the quality of the programming that you've done?
Well, this week we had over 6 Children's Services Council staffers at our agency the whole day looking at everything that we do. And and we love it. We love it because not only are you really challenging us to be the best at what we can be, and there was a lot of give and take, and it was wonderful to see staff just really arguing why they were doing things in a certain way, but it was also very collaborative. And that's one of the things that we love. You hold us to a very high standard, which makes us stronger as an organization. And ultimately, the people that benefit from this are the clients that we're serving, because we both have the same end goal in mind, to really help the youth and their families to be really self-sufficient and productive and to stay out of trouble and to be successful in school. And the standards that you have set and that ability not only to monitor, not just once a year, but on an ongoing basis, and having that give and take with you as a partner has been invaluable to us.
I'm so glad, because one of the things that we said from the beginning is we didn't want to have a gotcha mentality. It's not about finding out that you've done things wrong, but rather looking at the ways we can work together, how we can help strengthen you, because ultimately we don't succeed unless you succeed, and you don't succeed unless the children succeed.
Absolutely.
We all have that same goal
Absolutely.
in mind.
I agree.
Thank you so much for being such a great partner, Josie. We couldn't do
Likewise.
it without you.
Likewise.
And it's always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise. Thank you,
Thanks so
Cindy.
much.
My name is Gia Tutelo-Moat. I'm the founder and the CEO of Forever Family. Forever Family is an organization that started a decade ago, 10 years ago, just like the Children's Services Council, as an outreach on television through NBC Miami to raise awareness about children and teens in foster care. You know, I could never say enough wonderful things about the Children's Services Council of Broward County. I know from experience that they saw the program Forever Family, they gave it a shot. And from that, you know, by Children's Services Council underwriting Forever Family on NBC here in South Florida, entire lives have been changed. Children have been adopted, teens aging out of foster care. You know, the general public now has an idea of who these kids are in foster care. You know, foster kids, I shouldn't even call them foster kids. Children in foster care often get a bad rap. You know, people don't quite understand why they're in care. And the truth of the matter is that they're in care because they've had bad things done wrong to them. And through Forever Family and the association we have with the Children's Services Council, or the partnership we have with the Children's Services Council and the TV station, we're able to get a message out to the general public that these are good kids in bad situations. Because of the Children's Services Council of Broward County, we now have homes for more children and teens that I can even count. We actually have now had adult adoptions because people have seen the program, called about a teenager, and then adopted their adult siblings. So the program has been truly amazing. And you know, we're going on our 10-year anniversary. We've been sponsored by the Children's Services Council now for almost 10 years, and it's just been such a beautiful, beautiful relationship. And I want to say also that Forever Family is not just in Broward County anymore. Because of the Children's Services Council of Broward County, other agencies and other states and counties have come to us to say, how can we bring this program to our parts of the state or to our state themselves? So now we're in North Carolina, we're in Tallahassee, we're in Fort Myers, we're in Orlando, we're in Palm Beach. We're pretty much everywhere now in the state of Florida that there is a need, and we hope to continue to grow and make partnerships like the one we have with the Children's Services Council. Forever Family, in partnership with the Children's Services Council of Broward County, have been able to do so many things. Not just find homes for children, but really create a culture of awareness about who these children and teens are, why they always need a family. You know, you're never too old for a family, and we are a nonprofit organization, but we have the power of the media behind us. So each week we're able to reach hundreds of thousands of people to get the word out about who these kids are and why they're in care. And so as we grow, the goal now is to grow nationwide. They know who we are in Washington, D.C., they know who we are in Texas, they know who we are in New York and in North Carolina. And because of the relationship that the Children's Services Council started here with us, we've been able to change lives of children across the nation. And it's really a beautiful thing. And where do I see Forever Family growing? It's going to be a nationwide program. It's a model that can be replicated in other parts of the country, and people have really been able to see what we've done in Broward County and how that's going to change the lives of children across the nation.
And now I'm joined by former Superintendent Jim Nard, who served on the council for the 5 years that he served as superintendent of the Broward County Schools. Jim, it's a pleasure to see you again.
It's wonderful to be here, Cindy.
Your contribution during the 5 years was really important to the council. Creating that synergy between the school system and the council is one of the fundamentals of tenets of the CSC, and your contribution was great. Can you talk a little bit about why you served and what you saw while you were there?
Sure. Certainly, as superintendent of the nation's sixth largest school system, you're confronted with a lot of choices to serve. I saw the Children's Services Council, as in Nard's vocabulary, a non-negotiable. Frankly, as it's being tax supported, much the same as the public school system, but most importantly, really, we're serving the same population, our children, and we have the same moral compass. What can we do together to, in fact, increase the abilities for our children to enter the workforce and or go on to post-secondary education with the skills that they need?
One of the quirks of the CSC statute is that we cannot directly fund the school board, and yet we manage to find ways to partner to see that goal through. Some of the work like the 21st Century Learning Centers in the high schools.
Right, absolutely. As I became an active participant in the Children's Services Council, the beauty for me was, frankly, the eclectic group that made us up, equally as well as everybody kept the same focus. What is in the best interest of our children? And oh, by the way, how do we efficiently use taxpayer dollars to be able to do that? And your example of 21st century learning is a classic example. We looked at, well, what about our high schools? Are we, in fact, graduating the kinds of students that need to be skilled enough to go to work directly and or out to post-secondary education? Do they have the requisite skills? And the Children's Services Council, in their leadership, in fact, saw that as part of their mission. We put together, again, a great partnership, and frankly, that was one of your words when I first talked with you about becoming a member. Ultimately, the partnership, where it's not about our egos, it's not about who's putting the most money in, it's how do we measure the output for our kids? And 21st Century clearly was a great example.
And you've been a great partner. You were terrific at the school board and saw the wisdom in one of our larger partnership efforts, the Children's Strategic Plan, bringing everybody together. And I remember as the budget crunch of '08 started to hit, you were right there saying, let's use that Children's Strategic Plan to find those places that we can work together.
Right. I would tell you that now, in my retired life, the Children's Strategic Plan is a global model that everybody should follow. It took a lot of work. I know some, maybe not a lot, but some tears as we work through that with major players, our county governments, our school system, our not-for-profit world, and frankly, some of the newly elected people for the Children's Services Council. However, again, we were able to come out with a focus on what is in the best interest of our children. And by the way, it was like from zero, through high school. So it's not a matter that we carved out a particular section, and going back to that word partnership, there was never a time, and I can say the word never, there was never a time that you, as the CEO of the Children's Services Council, or your staff, ever lost track of the focus of what's in the best interest of our children and what can we do together as a partnership. Again, I opened that little bit up with it's an international model, it's a global model to follow. Absolutely as a global model in a global community that we are here in Broward County. That is the model to follow. Listen, some of the discussions and heated discussions that we had, as the finance, I served on the finance committee, the Children's Services Council, I believe, again, was a model for tax-supported organizations to make it through the Great Recession.
Well, and I do want to follow up actually on that finance committee role because you were the chair of finance as we had to deal with those declines in property values, and you managed that so well so that children were not harmed even as the values declined.
Right. It goes back, and I hate to be repetitious, but it goes back to partnership. In a partnership, you have to value your partner, and a non-negotiable, you have to trust your partner. And we didn't spend time really valuing each other or trusting each other. We rolled up our sleeves and did the hard work for our kids. I recall back when you brought in a group, an outside group, to help us in the grant process in terms of evaluating the grants. Listen, everything's benchmarked. We're an open book. We have our battles. However, we do the great things together that a public school system should do with an agency such as the Children's Services Council. If all 67 counties did it our way, the governor could take that off his plate.
Okay, thank you so much, Jim.
Sure.
It's such a pleasure to see you again, and thank you for your service on the council.
It's great. It's a great opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to share.
And now I'm joined by Anna Valladares, one of 2 CSC council members who have served for the entire 10 years of our existence. Hi, Anna, welcome.
Thank you, Cindy.
Anna, you have managed to be appointed by 3 different governors. Congratulations.
Thy you.
Why has it been so important to you to be part of the Children's Services Council?